It's just another day in a review.
Good evening, everybody. I am the coach A. This is Tay, and we're here for another episode of Tay and A's Chiefs Recap. So we're talking about the Chiefs versus Raiders Part 2. So very dominant performance here, 48-9. So once again, the Chiefs showing that Super Bowl team that we saw a couple years ago. Patrick Mahomes, so he threw his first touchdown passes and two touchdown passes in nearly a month. He had, Clyde. He had two more scores on the ground. The Chiefs defense looking strong as usual. They forced five turnovers. Was that a record? Five. Yeah, they were doing amazing on defense. Despite Derek Carr having 266 yards passing. Much of which was to Renfro. The defense was still, showing their dominance, not lighting up. So what do you have to say about the Chiefs for their dominant performance, particularly on defense?
Yeah. Let's start with the defense. So, honestly, like what more can you ask for, right? So, like the first play of the game, you got Jarron Reed punching the ball out, and Mike Hughes, who's stepping in for L'Jarius Sneed, who had a horrible, tragic accident happen with his brother that he was very, very close to. So Mike Hughes stepping in super late notice and getting that first play of the game, running it in for a touchdown. I know watching it on TV, I saw the clip. Like, they didn't even follow the ball. Like, they didn't even know that Mike Hughes had the ball. And, like, literally the whole entire stadium is just like, what? Like, what just happened, But, like, obviously very excited. So, like, I think to start the game off that way, it's just – it just, for one, goes to show you that the defense was ready, like they were like, this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do, and like the front line, oh my God, the D line was just from start to finish, just pounding Derek Carr. We had four forced fumbles. Now, I know they weren't all on Carr, but that just still, four forced fumbles and fumble recoveries, and then the one interception that Tyron had, which was also very crazy. That was not like your typical, standard interception either. I just don't think you can say enough good things about how the defense played. I think I read that Chris and Frank together had a record high day for like pressures together for what they had on Derek Carr. I think our backup guys did great. Okafor was out there laying Carr out. Jarron Reed, like I said, had a great game. Derek Nottie always doing his part. I think everyone on that line, and don't even get me started on Melvin Ingram. I am so high on this guy right now. I cannot believe that the Steelers let him go and let him come to us. Ultimately, and I said this when we got him, it was the perfect move for us because it didn't hurt us whatsoever. If we would have signed him in the free agency, we obviously would have had to give up more money. So us taking him from the Steelers for a 6th-rounder was a steal. And he has literally done nothing but be great ever since he's been here. And now we get to go against two of his former teams in back-to-back weeks. Like, I am so incredibly excited to see what he is able to do in this next stretch of games, of course, starting on Thursday with the Chargers. But yeah, I cannot say enough good things about these guys on defense. They are playing their hearts out, and you can see it. Like, they're hungry. It's like they're salivating at every snap. Like, oh, who's going to get the ball? Who's going to get a chance to get the ball now, And it's like every single guy is just doing their part. As far as like the run game, I don't know what the rushing yards were for the Raiders, but I know they didn't get very many. Renfro, obviously a great player. He got a lot more of the snaps with Waller being out due to COVID. Or not COVID. He didn't have COVID. That's it. That's everybody else in the NFL right now. But no, he's out with his knee injury. But no, I think that Renfro, like I said, obviously a great player. He was bound to have a good game. It's one thing to, contain a team to 9 points, but it's difficult to contain a guy like Renfro who is like the Raiders' entire offense with a guy like Waller out, So I know that he was able to put up some yards, and obviously Carr, he slung the ball a little bit, but they just weren't able to do anything with it. And then they go down and they finally get the touchdown in garbage time, and they miss the field goal, and it's just like, we literally controlled that game from start to finish. There was no letting up. I mean, at one point I really thought that we were going to hold them to nothing. I mean, it was that good, you know? And we actually, I don't know if you saw this, but we actually met our turnover differential. So now we are at 0 with turnovers as far as like what we've committed, as far as what we've taken, you know? So we're steady at 0, which is crazy because what the hell? Like all we did was commit turnovers to start the season. So the fact that we have now taken away the ball that many times to get that back at 0 is crazy to me, because who would have thought? I think, and I know we talked about it maybe in week 4 or 5 about like what, like if we kept having as many turnovers as we did, what the like end result would be at the end of the year. What we say, it'd be like 40 turnovers or something crazy is what we were on pace to do. Obviously that's not going to be the case now, knock on wood, but it's just crazy that we were able to turn it around. And I think it gets so overlooked is like how well this defense is playing. They are ranked number 6 right now. We were 32nd in everything at the beginning of the year. Week 5, we were at 32nd, and now we're almost 10 weeks later, and we are literally knocking on the door of a top 5 defense after starting 32nd for 5+ weeks. Like I don't think that is getting talked about enough. I know I talked last week that we're finally getting some recognition for the defense. I think that's definitely continuing now. I think that we're kind of putting everybody on notice, but at the same time, still really not getting a lot of credit. There's still people that, you know, don't really believe in what's going on with the Chiefs right now. And they think, you know, first of all, we did have the toughest schedule for the second chunk of the season, starting with our Monday night game against the Giants. And literally, like, this was a known fact. It's like, oh, the Chiefs' strength of schedule is the toughest, and how are they ever going to win all these games and blah, blah, blah. And then now you got people this week saying that, oh, well, you guys haven't really played anybody offensively and your defense isn't that impressive. And I'm just like, you people get paid to talk about this stuff and to have a bad opinion. And that's all it is, you know, like we know and we've seen what is going on. And like, obviously, anybody with a football brain can tell you that what this defense has done is incredibly impressive. And, you know, we've talked about coming back from the injuries. We've talked about adding Melvin, moving Chris back inside, taking Dirty Dan out of being a starting position, you know, like all these things contribute to it. But I think being able to do it week in and week out at a high level, we have held our last 4 opponents to less than 10 points. Like, that is insane. Like, teams that are good at defense don't always do stuff like that. And we have had 3 divisional games in that time span, plus the Dallas Cowboys that are playing pretty good football this year, or they were until as of recently. So I just think they're still really not getting a lot of credit, but they had a hell of a game on Sunday. Can't ask for anything more. They really stepped up in Snead's absence. And I mean, that's everybody. You had Tyron with the 2 turnovers. Mike Hughes, like I talked about, actually, he got the first fumble and then he forced 2 more. Like what? This is like our 5th, 6th string, secondary guy going out there. And the fact that he was just able to go out there and act like he'd been out there all year long is so impressive to me. And you actually had Spags and Andy commend him on it during their interviews early this week. But yeah, defense was phenomenal. I love the clip of Carr getting hit at the middle of the field and the ball coming out. Which, when that happened in real time, like, we all knew it was a fumble. We're like, no, like, that ball absolutely came out, and sure enough, it did. I mean, thank God we were right there and jumped right on it. But yeah, no, defense did great. As far as the offense goes, I think that we're kind of figuring it out. And I hate to say this because we have a very hard test on Thursday night with the Chargers. So I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, the Chiefs are back. The Chiefs are the best. We're going to get the 1 spot in the AFC. Like, I'm still not there. I know what this team is doing and what they're capable of. And I don't think that the offense is going to keep sputtering and not doing things. I mean, we've proven now I know both games were against the Raiders. Like, I get that. I know that there's the rivalry to that divisional game, what have you. But with that being said, divisional games, usually you don't get 2 blowouts in one season. Like, that's just extremely hard to do. Like, even with Green Bay and your Bears, you know, like, the Bears had a very good game on Sunday night. So, it really doesn't matter who's the better team and who's not. Like divisional games, usually if you blow one team out, then when you play again, it's a lot closer game. So the fact that we literally have spanked the Raiders twice in the last couple of weeks, I mean, it's just that's kind of what people are saying is like, oh, well, it's just the Raiders. Like, okay, well, again, you guys were high up on the Raiders before they played the Chiefs, and the Raiders just went and beat Dallas, so you can't tell me that, oh, it's just the Raiders. Like, no, that's irrelevant. And, oh, they don't have a head coach. I don't care, like that's beside the point. Like my team was able to go out there and dominate them twice in the last couple of weeks. And that is telling for something. I do think that, signs of the offense on Sunday that were really positive. Clyde was running the ball fantastic on Sunday. And what also was a super bright spot that we've missed is Pat finding the guys on the long ball. I mean, we had the McCole pass for 40, the Pringle for 35, the Tyreek for 40 plus. I think that one was maybe right around 40. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like we were seeing sparks of like playoff Super Bowl run Patrick Mahomes. And like that is what we've been missing. I mean, to be fair, like we actually had a game with no drop passes. Pat had as many incompletions as he had not touchdowns, but as we had scores on Sunday. So he had 4 incompletions, and that's how many times that the offense like scored was four times with Pat, like not a field goal, So the fact that he was able to go out there and kind of do whatever he wanted in a way was very, very nice to see. I think everybody on offense kind of had a good clicking mechanism with each other. Mecole's ball was great. If you actually go back and watch, Mecole's route, I think, was supposed to be a little different, but his guy fell. So you just see Mecole holding his hand up like, hey, hit me. And Pat just let it rip. And sure enough, I mean, ideally that one could have been a touchdown. They all could have been. The one on Tyreek was incredible patience by Pat. I mean, he sees him down there and he's waiting, and boom. And then Tyreek catches it in coverage with like 4 guys right there on his heels. So just a lot of things that were happening that maybe haven't been happening in the last couple of weeks that looked really positive for us. Clyde with the 2 rushing touchdowns, like I said, he seems to be running the ball a lot better, getting a lot more comfortable, finding the holes a little bit better. I think it was the first touchdown. Usually he would just kind of go right where he was, but he didn't. He kind of paused, and then he went back, and then he went back again, and then he found the hole and ran it in for the touchdown. And I don't know, they just looked really, really good. You had Harrison hitting a couple more long field goals to kind of keep the scoring going. And then we pull out the starters, put Chad Henne in for one play, and then you got Derek Gore running down for a 40-plus yard touchdown. I mean, it was just really, really good to see kind of everybody doing their part, as far as defense and offense goes. Special teams had another great day. We really didn't have to use Tommy Townsend for nothing, but Harrison, like I said, had a couple of field goals in the second half. But yeah, I don't have any quarrels about any of it. They just looked really good. I do, however, have some quarrels about this week because now we have Chris Jones in COVID protocol. That happened today. Apparently he's not positive, but he is in the protocol for being a close contact. So that sucks on a short week. Josh Gordon tested positive yesterday. Josh Gordon getting his first touchdown on Sunday. That was awesome to see. Oh, that touchdown was great. Oh man, that one I kept kind of watching on replay because that was just, it was pretty because he was out there with the tight ends. We talked about this, I think, after the first game. They have this 3 tight end set called the T-Rex. Well, they had the T-Rex, and then they had Gordon in there, and Gordon just whoop, and ran right in there. They didn't even know the ball was coming, and he just walked right in for the touchdown. I thought that was great. But yeah, so Gordon and Jones are Gordon's probably for sure going to be out because he tested positive. But like I said, Jones is just a close contact. With it being the short week and traveling tomorrow, that sucks. I don't know. I know they have to have like the 2 negative tests in a certain amount of time. So I'm just not thinking it's probably going to be able to happen for either of them, unfortunately. So hypothetically speaking, like if we lose Chris, that puts a lot more pressure on the other guys. But like I said, I think we're really deep at the D line. I mean, like I said, we had Nadi Okafor, Reed, guys that aren't named Chris Jones, Melvin Ingram, and Frank Clark. They were all kind of doing their part. And then we got the rookies. We got Bolton and Gay. I know Gay's not technically a rookie, but he's a young guy, that have all been doing their part as well. So I think losing Chris will be huge. Like don't get me wrong, but I think that we have enough guys that kind of they understand and they know how important this game is. I mean, we're playing for the AFC West first place again for the second time in 3 weeks, and like we haven't really been in this close of a race since Patty's first year, where we started out really, really hot, and then we started to kind of lose games towards the end before we made it to the playoffs. And then, of course, we beat the Colts, and then we had the Patriots in the AFC Championship game that we lost. Now, that end of that season, we actually lost to the Chargers at home, and the Chargers had the first place in the West, and then they ended up dropping a game, which was awesome. But I don't want it to come down to that. I want to win on Thursday night, and I think everybody, within the Chiefs understands how important this is and how badly we have to have this win. So, like I said, with or without Chris, I mean, I think the defense is still going to dominate. We're a lot different than we were in week 2 when we played the Chargers. We're not the same team. Definitely defensively, we're not the same. So, I'm sure they've been watching tape as teams do, but I don't think anything really prepares you for what we've been doing. I mean, again, look at all these great quarterbacks and coaches that we've played and what they've done. I mean, we've held these teams, like I said, to around 10 or so or less points, and I think if we can contain Herbert, if we can pick him off, if we can get to him on the line, we're gonna have a good day. But he's definitely gonna be a test for us because I mean the kid's playing good. He's playing really good. He's been slinging the ball all over the place. But we also know that he's not perfect. They've had games where they have not looked great. So we all know that there's wiggle room with all these teams. It's like, oh, they have a really good game against one team, and then they go out and look like crap the next week. So, and the same can be said of us, especially with our offense. We have the 2 Raiders games, and then we have the game against the Broncos where we only score 1 touchdown. And then, it just it's been a weird season, hard to kind of say that you're really like high up on anybody because, like I said, you have a good week, and then the next week you go out and don't do so well. So I think it's anybody's game on Thursday. I'm really excited. I'm really anxious. I'm like, I haven't really been able to sleep this week because I'm just so nervous about it. Because I don't know. We've never really been in this position at this point in the season, as of recent, especially with Pat. Like I said, I mean, we kind of were the first year, but that was the last year with Phillip Rivers for the Chargers, and I think they kind of knew what it was, So when they lost that game, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's just the Chargers being the Chargers. But now that they have Herbert, I'm like, I don't know, do I think they can win out? Maybe, but also so should we, So it's hard to say. And if we drop this game, I don't know if there's really a way that we'll be able to get the AFC West back. And I mean, obviously, unless they drop one. So we'll see, but I'm really excited about it. And I think it should be a good game. As long as our offense can keep things rolling, we should be all right.
All right, yeah. I was actually going to talk to you about the prediction for the Los Angeles Chargers. But looking at this game, the Raiders just not terrible on offense. They had several the protection issues. They had drop passes, defensive penalties. It's just not a good game all around. So, when you say, like, it's not always on – you can blame all the offense, but, defense wasn't doing their job either. They gave up 48 points, especially at the NFL level. That's not good. But, looking ahead for the Chargers, for Herbert, I was going to say, like, what was your opinion on prediction for this next game? But you kind of already covered that. It's up and in. It's anybody's ball game here. I mean, especially
it really is.
With the records being so close, they lose this game. I don't necessarily think it's over. Necessarily, especially with the way the defense is going. I think the Chiefs might pull out another win here. With the way the defense is looking, even if the offense doesn't play their best and Mahomes doesn't play his best game, I think the defense might do well enough so they can pull out a win. But even with who's the running back? Eckley, I think his running back's name
Eckler,
is.
yeah, Austin
Eckler, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Eckler, yeah. So I think if the defense could hold him down, maybe keep under maybe 100 yards, I think they'll have a good win for this Thursday. But yeah,
I hope
awesome
so.
performance here. Yeah, I think they'll pull it out. The Chiefs are looking good. They look, like you said, they're looking like a much different team from week 2. When the fans are, they were just getting ready to give up on the Chiefs. Like they're not going to do good this year. Then they started turning it around. But I give props to the defense. But yeah, the weather.
Absolutely.
How was the weather there being there live in the stadium watching the game? Was the weather
good?
good?
It was good. For a kickoff, it was nice, really nice. I mean, I had on a long sleeve T-shirt, and that's it. It was really nice. Yeah, good football weather.
Oh yeah, well that's good. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say about the game. The Chiefs looking good. Destroyed the Raiders. Hopefully they can do the same against the Chargers.
Oh, I do have something else to say. So yeah, before the game, I'm gonna butcher his last name, but Njoku, number 91 on the Raiders. I'm sure you saw this. He thought it would be really cool to have their huddle up before they go to the locker room and move it from the 25-yard line to the Arrowhead logo. And we like to get in there about an hour before kickoff, so we were in there for this, and you just kind of, it's definitely not full by any means. I would say maybe halfway full, a third full, and you could, oh man, everybody was just like, what are you doing? And just boos insinuate from everywhere. Like it just was super, I guess in a good way to put it, super unprofessional. Like that's like some college or high school type of stuff, And also, I understand that they beat us there last year, and obviously we still remembered that, and obviously they did too, but like literally we just beat you in your house pretty badly, and then you just, I don't know, it just seems so classless to me. Oh, it was just so annoying. And then the guys after the game, apparently they didn't know about it before the game started. Obviously they were all in the locker room when it happened, so they didn't really see, but they were all asked about it afterwards. And I think Tyrann Mathieu had a really good answer. He said, that's not really stuff that champions do. And I was like, yeah, that is very true, because we know that like we are ultimately the better team, and we have the rings and the trophy to prove it, So I just think that was just such a low blow, and like for no reason. Like who even decided that was a good idea? And then you got Derek Carr afterwards saying like, oh yeah, well, I just kind of followed. Like, well, yeah, obviously, because you didn't tell him it was a bad idea.
Yeah, was that this game or the last game where they stamped on the logo with the Chiefs game?
Today or Sunday.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I was like, wow, that is high school level. That's like, that reminds me of a time I was playing in high school. It was a playoff game, and we went to the visitors' locker room. And so what they did, they took all the toilet paper and they poured water on them. That's just like that kind of reminds me of such like a high school level thing to do. Just very unprofessional, very
that's
immature.
What I'm saying. Like when they went out there to do it, I was just like, what? Because like where they're all at on the field is like down on the 25 or 30. So they were literally already on the 25, and then Njoku's like, no, come over here, come to the logo. I'm like, what are you doing? Like that's just childish is what it was. But yeah, not a good move for them, and definitely didn't look good afterwards.
It kind of reminds me of KU and K-State back when they made a weird scene with the Jayhawk logo. If you remember that,
with the marching band.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah, very similar.
Just so juvenile, but hey, you know what?
Like, is this what we're doing? Like,
yeah. But I mean, looking at the scoreboard, maybe they should be more focused on their offense and their section instead of
be more focused on playing the game instead of showing up and trying to be disrespectful. Like, I just thought that was very silly.
Oh yeah, well. Again, always a fun time here on TNA's Chiefs Recap. The next time we'll be here, we're going to review the Chiefs versus the Chargers, and we're sure, hopefully, we'll pull out another win. We're both predicting wins here. Keep our fingers crossed here. Well, thank you so much. Great insight as always. Always love doing these with you. But we're going to see you guys next time. Chiefs versus Chargers, and everybody, we'll see you next time.
All right.